welcome to another episode of the 3-on-3 Hoops Pod, the voice for 3-on-3 basketball, and where we break down why 3-on-3 basketball is the secret sauce to player development. I'm Kevin Roberts, and I'm joined here, as always, by the one and only Coach Jay, aka Coach Jared Dent. What's going on, Coach?
Oh man, if I knew, I'd be there.
What? All right. Well, today we're
Just kidding. I'm
we're
happy to be here. Hey, don't take that the wrong. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm happy to be here. I just know summertime is on the horizon, and as you know, summer is the time to get out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Summertime is time to get. I mean,
Sun's
you and
out,
I are
guns out,
both
as
in
they say.
hot places. Exactly.
Dude, don't even get me started on that, man. I'm
Oh,
I'm not.
we're gonna have a battle of the heats because I think mine is way worse than yours. But
It might be, man, but I'm just saying. I don't know. The southern heat. When I'm out there in about 5 minutes, I'm like drenched in sweat. Here, you go outside, like it's like the sun
but
like bakes into the side of your face like
no one here.
instantly.
I
It's
know.
no
I know.
humidity. It's super
Y'all
dry,
deal
but
with sunburns and dry skin and all that stuff and
yeah,
cracked skin. We deal with not being able to breathe when we step outside.
yeah,
So anyway, all
yeah,
right. But today we're going to dive into one of the most common questions we get from coaches, and that's how do I add 3-on-3 to my team's training without blowing up my whole practice plan? We know not everyone can run a full-time 3-on-3 league like Coach and I do, or reformat their entire system or practice routine. But the truth is, you don't have to. And today we're going to give you like real, simple, proven ways to start using 3-on-3 basketball in your program, whether you're coaching a youth team, middle school team, high school team, or just running skills clinics. So that's what we're going to talk about today, Coach.
yeah. Let's get it.
All right. So what we're going to do here is both Coach Jay and I will share 2 or 3 ways that we've used 3-on-3 in our programs or things that we've learned from other coaches that we've interviewed right here on this podcast and or stuff that we'd love to try out. I'll share mine first, and then we'll go with Coach Jay. So that's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
So
Let's do it.
back when I was still coaching 5-on-5, and it's been a few years, a couple years now, since I decided to fully dedicate my time and energy to my program 3-on-3 Live. For the better part of a little over 15 years, I've coached middle school and high school. My favorite teams age group to coach has always been 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yep.
What's been your favorite?
I would say the same. I would say the same. Sixth, seventh, and eighth. Um,
They just seem eager to learn. I think.
they're sponges, right? They're
Yeah,
sponges.
less
They haven't
egos.
got they haven't got that teenage attitude, funky attitude yet.
Some of them do.
Um, and you
The better.
can and with them, I think it's easier to spot the development quicker because they come in there green and they come in
Mhm.
there without the skills.
Yep.
So you get excited when you see your first crossover dribble, something small
Yep.
like that. Whereas in high school, high school, I'm focused on development also, but there's more strategy involved during the high school season, especially when I'm working with the
Yeah.
varsity
Yeah.
team as an assistant because I am an assistant. I'm more focused on the strategy side of it. So I'm
Oh, for
more
sure.
looking at trying to spot disadvantages and spot advantages on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
But in middle school, that middle school age, it's purely 100% development for me. Like I even tell the kids, don't even worry about winning and losing it.
Yeah.
Just worrying about going out there and getting better every quarter, every possession, every
Yeah.
game. So that's why that's my favorite. I kind of just let them fly with how they play. Let them play a little bit more open
Yeah.
because they are learning. And yeah, with that high school level, it's still in the development stage, but it's a little bit more structured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And that's so 6, 7, 8. That's just always been my favorite. It's just kind of been my sweet spot. I
Yep.
also love coaching JV basketball as
Yep.
well. Only because you know that you have their attention because their goal is to make it to varsity for the most part. So I like that also. But anyway, during the later years of my coaching, like I said, I've coached for over 15 years, and during the later years of my coaching, one of the easiest ways I started to integrate 303 into my practices, or was actually at the beginning before practices, where during tryouts, that's when I started integrating in. And instead of just putting players in a full court 5-on-5 scrimmage to
Yep.
evaluate players, which can get pretty chaotic, at that age group, especially with a large group. We break it down into 3-on-3 sessions. So I'd have, typically have like a set a target score, and we would have two games going on at once. And I had so I had one assistant coach for the most part. I had one assistant coach, and he'd watch one end, I'd watch the other, and we'd pass by each other to switch, and we tell each other who to look, who are we looking at here.
Hmm.
And so, and just to keep everything 100, what I'm saying, we're keeping it real here. As a coach, you pretty much know who's going to be on the team, before.
From the first
Yeah.
10 minutes of practice.
Well, I was gonna say, if not before, then for at
Yeah.
least the first 15 minutes, and really, you're looking at. Now it might be different for a big school, but especially for, like, I coach at small schools, so I can only speak from my experience. But maybe it's different for bigger schools. But for the most part, you're keeping an eye on maybe the last 3 or 4 spots of your roster, and you're just using that to basically you're looking for confirmation on things that you've already figured out during summer workouts or summer camps,
Hmm.
like checking their body language, their behavior, and all that stuff.
Yep.
So but you're looking at the 3 to 4 spots on your roster, the final spots on your roster, and then seeing how they would mesh well with the team that you have in your head already. But you want to see them in action as much as possible. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't get all the time when watching them in the 5-on-5, because everyone, even when they shouldn't have the ball, everyone wants to show the coaches what they got when they have the ball. So
Yep.
there'll be a lot of ball hogging. You won't see like a lot of ball movement in those 5-on-5
Especially
during
on that
tryout.
level.
Exactly. So because they don't really know how to play team ball yet. So the opportunities might not be there for somebody that you want to take a look at or that you heard about. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So breaking them into 3-on-3, I see more decision making. I see more spacing, more player tendencies. How they interact with teammates, how they respond after a string of negative plays, or negative plays from their teammates, because that's another thing. So
Hmm.
I I had them in teams of 5, so I have 3 players playing on the court and then 2 subs, and I do that
Okay.
intentionally so I can get a good idea how players, not only how they are on the court, but also how they
But when they're
interact.
standing off to the side.
Exactly. So, or how are they still engaged? Are they still being competitive? Are they only engaged when they're playing and not you know paying attention to other teammates or whatever? So if they try to even get to know their teammates, so
Right.
I look at all that, and you can see more of that, when you break them up into groups like that,
Yep.
versus having a 5-on-5 and everybody kind of scattered around the gym or whatever. I'm trying to keep everybody together because I want to see how they interact with their players. So we get
Exactly.
more of that in 3-on-3 format, and that's what you want as a coach, is you want to evaluate as many game time situations as possible, including bench
Yeah.
etiquette. So on 5-on-5, you might not get all that opportunity. Um, but also it gives me a much clearer picture of which kids could pass, who could defend on an island,
Hmm.
who had good instincts, basketball instincts, like cutting and cutting without the basketball, setting screens, off ball screens, and honestly, who wanted to have the ball in their hands. You know what I'm saying? Because 3-on-3 games get pretty competitive, so you want to see who wants
Yep.
the ball at the hands when it's game point. And
Yep.
so the second thing we did was probably my favorite, which was we usually did this on day 1 of practice, and that was we ran a defensive cutthroat 3-on-3. Right. So
Hmm.
this basically set our tone early as for what type of team we were going to be, which was a defensive minded team. So we typically had 12 players on a roster,
Yep.
so 4 teams of 3, and we would play a game to 3, and where points were only scored on the defense. One
Yeah.
point for a defensive rebound, and only if you boxed out or hit a body before
Yeah.
securing the ball. 1 point for a steal, 1 point for a block, 2 points for a charge, so stuff like that. And those points are only tallied if we heard everyone's voice on that possession. So
Right.
if we
Okay.
if we caught someone not talking or not talking loud enough, I'll ask my assistant, "Do you
Take
think
the
that was
point
loud
off.
enough?" They take the point away. And so,
Yeah.
or even if they
I
didn't score a
like
point,
that.
we'll
I
just
like
we'll
that.
just we'll just take away a point just for not talking.
I like
Um,
that.
yeah. So the winning defensive team stays on. if you stayed on 3 games in a row, you would get one free pass. Everybody on that team gets one free pass on running sprints in the middle or at the end of practice. They could use that whenever they
Okay.
want. So just to give a little incentive, and that so those games got super intense.
I like
Because
that. I like that.
because there
We
was
run cutthroat a
they wanted to
different way.
get
I
those
like
points.
that. Yep.
So this what this did was it really hammered down our defensive principles quickly. You know what I'm saying? And again, more reps. We can teach defensive stance, talking, switching. We can be more like focused in on those things, over and over and over again. So you just get to see every breakdown immediately. So
Yeah.
it's just again much easier to teach team defense with 3-on-3. Um, and lastly, now this wasn't something that I did. There were some 3-on-3 drills that were previously that were mentioned in previous interviews that we did on this podcast. With interview we had an interview with Coach Steines of Ames High School out there in Ames, Iowa, and he talked about some fun drills that they used. Some pretty cool names on them. So like he had like kill drills, 3 stops
Yeah.
in a row to get off. So he had something called 3-on-3 Braveheart, 3-on-3 Spurs, 3-on-3 Turkey. So with some restrictions, and I'll put the link to that interview in the description so you guys can go back and listen to some of the drills that he talked about. And all those are really competitive and creative formats that he had to emphasize like getting angles on a 3-on-3 structure. Just he put restrictions on some of these also. So, but it was one interview that we had with Coach Nick Logalbo, who was not only the head coach at Lane Tech College Prep High School in Chicago, but he's also the three-time FIBA World Cup gold medalist for being a head coach at USA 3x3 basketball. In that interview we had with him on one of the earlier episodes of this podcast, he talked about how he used 3-on-3 in the middle of the season, just like around, I think it was after Christmas break or whenever the
Hmm.
grind was getting real. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
for these high school players, and the players have
Right
gotten
after Christmas break.
yeah, so that's when the players have gotten too used to a routine and things become a little like mundane, and just to break up the monotony of the season, he would do a mini 3-on-3 tournament within the team, breaking up.
Within
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, so like sometimes they may have had like a bad loss or something like that, and just how it is in the middle of the season. Players start to kind of wander, their minds start to wander, or whatever. So this kind of
Yeah.
brought their focus back, and they're not always wanting to practice hard at that time of year. You know what I'm saying? So it's just to
Yeah.
kind of break it up and compete and just remember why they love the game. So I'll have that link to that interview, and it was a really good interview. And he kind of went through why he loves 3-on-3 and integrated it into your high school program. So he's a very successful 3x3 basketball coach. So I'll have a link to both of those interviews in the description so you guys can check them out. And Coach Jay, I don't know if you use 3-on-3 in different ways or the same ways I did, but I'll go ahead and give yours.
Yeah, definitely. Cutthroat is something that we definitely do. I run it a little bit different from how you explained it, which I'm going to start implementing your way. Um, Coming forward because I like that. I feel like especially with my new club team, we have to focus a little bit harder on the defensive side of the basketball. But typically, how I do my cutthroats, and we normally do this towards the end of practice, if not the last circuit, we do it the last circuit before we run our full 5-on-5 scrimmage. But it's just one possession. It's a one possession thing. Offense, you got to score. If you score, you stay on. Defense, you got one stop. This is the last possession of the game. If you stop them, you win the possession. Offense, you off. Defense, go to offense, and then we just shuffle the guys on the side,
Mhm.
in. So most of the times we'll do, if we have like the 12 or 15 kids, if it's even multiple, we'll split them up into even teams. Sometimes the numbers are off. Then we'll just have guys shuffle in, whether we, pick new teams each rep, or we just shuffle in a new defense. But the point of that is defense. You got one stop. I love for my defense to have one stop mentality. You get a steal, you force a turnover, or if they get a shot up, you get the rebound. It's one shot or no shots. That's my motto on defense. One or none. They get one shot or no shots. And for offense, same thing. You get one chance to score a bucket. If you don't score a bucket and the defense gets the ball, you're off. So you got to really focus on moving the basketball. I'm very, very big on moving the basketball and not dribbling. A lot of That's another reason why I like this middle school, sixth, seventh, eighth grade level, is because a lot of kids at this level think that getting open and getting to the basket only involves dribbling, right? So I do a lot of, even with the cutthroat, sometimes I'll add three passes before you even attempt a shot,
Mhm.
or I'll add no dribbles at all. I don't want any dribbles. You guys
So
just have to figure out how to get to the basket.
I've
So
actually done that in a it was a summer league game, but it wasn't a I mean, it
yeah,
was a game, but I've done that because we were just horrible in the first half. And
yeah,
this was JV high school. Most of my guys, half of my roster were 10th graders. All the starters were at least, and we were just having a horrible time of
yeah,
just moving the ball. We were not playing the way I'd like to play. And I said, all right, no dribbles. And this is something that they hated to do in practice. And second half, you dribble, you're out the game. We were down by
yeah,
20 at this point.
yeah. So
And
it doesn't
so
really matter.
yeah, well, it mattered, but this was a summer league game, so
Yeah,
this is time for me to. And they thought I was crazy. The parents thought I was crazy, so I'm like, because I was pulling kids out, they thought I was joking. Like, I'm talking.
yeah.
As soon as I cross half court, if you take one dribble across half court,
You're
you're out.
done.
And
Yeah.
within the first possession, I had two players come out, and so once they realized I was serious, those next three or four possessions were the best, possession that we had the entire game. And
Yeah.
so that we even made the team call a timeout. So, I really hope one of my former players are listening to this and they can say in the comments, I remember that because that
I
was
can vouch for it.
yeah, I mean, that was a summer league game. And I know that they thought I was crazy, but that just to drive home a point, you don't need a drill to score. So,
You
I didn't mean
don't
to
need to
interrupt,
jump.
but yeah.
No, it's good. No, you're good. That's a good tangent. And it's crazy because those kids, when you tell them that, they look at you like, huh? Like,
Mhm.
how am I supposed to score without dribbling? It makes them think. That's part of the
Hey,
IQ slice of it.
the first time I introduced it in a practice setting, all right, I said, we'll play 3-on-3, games of three. Oh, yeah, by the way, no dribbles.
No dribbles.
You dribble, it's turnover, and they're like, "Huh?" And so,
Yeah.
like, they'll eventually figure it out. I don't say anything else.
Yep.
Like, I don't answer any questions. I said that's the last thing I'm gonna say. No dribbles. So,
Yeah. So yeah, I like to run that. Another thing I like to run, kind of like in the middle of practice, kind of like when we start to do our team stuff. To focus on offense, I do pick and roll. So I hammer the pick and roll down, because coach, I know you know, and we mentioned this on previous episodes before. Karl Malone and John Stockton were the most unstoppable force on pick and roll, and they ran it against my Lakers over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they were successful, and it was very effective. So I tried to teach
oh,
these kids the same thing. So we do pick and rolls, and we break down each facet of it, right? So we put the three players out there. No, sorry. We start with two players, right? We start with
mhm,
a ball handler, and then we start with a screener. Sometimes we'll put them down at the block. Sometimes we'll put them high post. So we'll move them to different portions of the floor. We'll have the ball handler call a screen. So we focus on the screener being able to set a solid screen. That's the first part of it. Then our ball handler, of course, we teach them how to come off the screen, whether it's tight. Sometimes you have to, create a little bit of a gap there. So we work on those, and then the purpose of that, the first part of it is just having them work off the screen, getting all the way downhill to the bucket. The second portion of that is we have the screener. We have everything is the same, but now we have the screener does his reverse pivot and dive down to the basket on the roll. So we focus on the pick first. We focus on the roller. So we have the ball handler coming off the screen, and then we having him either different type of finish or different type of passes. We have a bounce pass, and then sometimes we have them going with the over the top pass for if
mhm.
there's taller defenders, we might be able to drop it in over his head. So we work on those two different type of passes. And then the third facet of it, we'll add in a backside guy on that corner. So everything at the top is still the same. That screen, that roll, that guy dives to the basket. But now we preach on the third part of it. Our ball handler getting 2 feet into the lane, right, and visualizing that side defender crashing down on him, leaving that corner guy open, and then we kick it out for a wide open three. So after we do those after we do the three facets, we worked at it for about 15 minutes. Then we'll put a defense out there, and then we'll have those same three guys. Do the same exact thing: pick, roll, kick. But now you're doing it against a live defense, and the ball handler has to make the proper read based on what the defense shows them. So I do that, and then lastly, one of my favorite drills is not 3-on-3, but it involves three players, and it's a full court drill. It's 3v2, 2v1, full
I
court.
love that
Yeah,
was my favorite one as
yeah,
a player. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Transition defense. Me too. Same. So,
I
for
dominated.
the yeah. No, so that's the thing. So that's my thing too about teaching defense to these guys. It's all about pride. It's all about effort, and it's all about 1-2, right?
Oh, I was talking about
And
offense, but
oh, you talking about offense? Oh no,
when
no.
I was a player, I
So
didn't care about defense. But
oh yeah, I mean, I can probably attest to that too. But um, being at a disadvantage to me was always a thing, right? Like,
oh
okay,
yeah,
we're at a
love it.
disadvantage, so I can prove that we can stop you guys, even though we have less guys out there. So for the people that are listening, if you don't know the 3v2, 2v1, I'll just explain it vanilla. You got three guys on the baseline. You got two defenders about at the free throw line. You blow the whistle. It's a transition drill. You got three guys on offense. You got two people on defense. One guy has to stop the ball handler. I try to have them stop them. I try to have them meet them at mid court. Have them give the ball up. That second guy has first pass, and the first guy that stopped the ball, your responsibility from that point is to get back to the basket, splitting the difference between the two guys without the basketball, being able to play the pass. If a pass is made, or if that guy that has the basketball, if he gets it and shoot it, you be able to get in position to get a rebound. Once that possession is over, the two guys that are on defense, now they transition back to offense, and the guy who shot the ball or turned it over. So the guy who has the ball last, now you're on defense by yourself going back down. And that is just strictly being able to guard the basket and split the difference between the two offensive players. And we do that pretty much to end practice because it's a way to work on defense and just get the guys conditioned. So we do that for about 10, 15 minutes. And a lot of times the guys are burnt out, especially on those lower levels.
So have you ever heard of 11-man drill?
I don't think I've done. I don't
So
think we've
you'll
done that.
love. Do you have if you have 11 guys at least? If you have at least 11 guys on the
Hmm.
court, you need to learn this because all it is it's 3-on-2 continuous.
Uh,
And so here I'm gonna try to explain the best I can. So you got 11 guys. So you got the two guys down on defense, right? Just like well, same setup you started before. So you got two guys on defense, and you got three guys on the other end of the court, ready to go towards the defense. Then you got one guy on the wing, or you got one line on the right wing, right? And you got another line of guys on the left wing, and then you
hmm
got the same two lines on the other side of the court. All right, so
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
11
yeah,
spots.
yeah, 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 yeah,
All
yeah.
right. So basically, there's only one shot on each side. So it's three on two. It's 3-on-2, and you get one shot, right? And then whoever gets the rebound, this is how I run it. Whoever gets the rebound on a made or missed basket, that's who stays on.
Yeah,
All right. So you got players fighting for that ball, like like it because they want to stay on it. If you get
I'm
to
saying,
again,
yeah,
I'm always like giving incentive. So like if you stay on it at least three times in a row, you don't have to run at the end because we all had to run at the end, and like
yeah,
they're already exhausted anyway. So they don't. I tricked them, but they're already exhausted from staying on. But basically, you'll get the rebound. Once the player gets the rebound, they outlet to the one of the wings, and then it's 3-on-2
yeah,
on the other end, and then you just keep going, back and forth, whatever. So, yeah. So whoever gets rebound goes to the outlet, and it's 3-on-2. Go down to the other end, rebound, or turnover. If it's turnover, you outlet, fill in, and it's 3-on-2 on the other end. So it's just continuous 3-on-2 action up and down the court. So that's a great drill to see who wants to stay on the court, like
Okay.
the most
Okay. I'm gonna have to
consecutive
implement
times.
that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I love how you teach. You start to teach your offense using 3-on-3 or using 3-player sets, because
Mhm.
that's another way, players just naturally see an offense. And I love that you start with pick and roll, the most, basic offense that there is. We have,
Yeah,
like you mentioned,
that's a start.
we had the whole show on pick and roll. So, you guys can go back and check that out. But I love that you teach that, part of the offense, because players can see the offense, that part of the offense, and they can see it easier when you put the other two players on. So
Yep.
I love
Yep.
that. And it teaches spacing and all that stuff too. So I love that you do that.
Yeah, man.
So there you go. So we have, do you have any other
Yeah,
lays that you want to
I
use 3-on-3,
yeah,
or
I
that's
did
something that's
forget to
tried?
another drill I use is pass and cut opposite or pass and screen opposite. And it's real simple. You got your top of the key guy, you got your two wings. Same type of thing. You just that's a principle that I teach just at the beginning, passing. And a lot of those little kids, they like to pass and then either stand or they either run to where they pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very big on passing and going the other way, screening for the other guy that's on the opposite side, and then that guy coming and fill that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's one of my drills I like to to start with at the beginning of the season, especially just because it's continuing passing and just continuing ball movement, and it's just preaching. Don't stand and watch. Don't stand and watch. When you pass the ball, fill into an opposite spot. If it's a guy standing there, go there and tell him to go where you just left from.
No, I love that.
So
Yeah.
I like to use that drill also.
That's awesome. And see, I told you we like 5-on-5 basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like
Yeah.
we're against 5-on-5 basketball. We use 3-on-3 basketball to teach 5-on-5 basketball. So it's not,
I mean, yeah,
this
five
or
on
that.
five.
Like Coach
I
said,
understand, man. Yeah,
even at the beginning when we started this podcast, it's not this or that. This should be a part of your regular
this should be a part of
training
that.
regimen. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna always go back to the same example I use every time. 7-on-7 football. 7 on
Mhm.
7 football 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was just looked at as a part of practice for like the secondary and then for the quarterbacks just being able to get chemistry with their receivers. 3-on-3 basketball is 7-on-7 football. That's the comparison. 3-on-3 basketball preaches the fundamentals one, and then it just breaks down the whole game into a portion, just like 7-on-7 football breaks down the whole game. In football, there's not passing 100% of the plays. In basketball, it's not going to be 3-on-3. It's not going to be 3-on-3 anytime
Mhm.
during the game, but those same principles are going to happen: passing, cutting away, screening, communication. So that's the comparison I use.
Oh.
It's just like 7-on-7 football.
Yeah, and I'm always going to go back to like just the amount of opportunities you get and the amount of, I think it's the best 3-on-3 is the best way to create game like situations, in quick spurts. You know what I'm saying? So you're just not going to
Yeah.
get it, where everyone can get a game like situation. Like when you're playing an actual game, all players don't even get the game like situation because they're either off to the side or they're not getting the ball on their side. So just that just especially if you're in a I don't know, do you have shot clocks in your state? Because
We added the shot clock. We added
so
the
we
shot
still
clock
have
this past
not.
season.
So yeah, so
Yeah,
we still dealing without the shot clock. So I can only
that's
imagine like
terrible, man.
I know, man. Well, I mean, I'm never gonna. I don't know if I'll ever coach 5-on-5 again, but but I really wish we had a shot clock when I was coaching. But
Well,
yeah,
I'll put it like this: we play in a small 2A, and everything above 2A plays with a shot clock. For some reason, 2A we have and I think that was just last year because I think going forward is going to be mandatory. But
yeah,
last year we had the option to play with the 35-second clock or not for some reason. But whenever you play up, you have to play with the 35-second clock because
yeah,
that's what they play. So I don't know if they just should put a
yeah.
shot
I
clock in
I just
because.
I
It's
don't know why
just
we don't have a
dreadful
shot clock.
watching non-shot
Yeah,
clock
that's
basketball, man. I'll just keep it real.
and another reason why 3-on-3 is great because it teaches you to play fast.
Play fast.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Shot.
Yep.
Boom, 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 boom. Steal. Boom, boom, boom. Rebound. Like,
All right. Before we get to our next segment, we have a very, very special announcement. We want to introduce something brand new that we've been working on. It's a place for our listeners uh, to follow. It's a place for our listeners and fellow 3-on-3 advocates to connect, learn, and grow. And Coach, why don't you have the honors?
yeah. So, like I mentioned, we're big on community here. So, this is a community building thing that we're doing here. As we know, 3-on-3 is a niche sport that's soon gonna take the mainstream by storm. But myself, Coach Kev here, as staunch advocates of 3-on-3, we just want to, build community, supply, coaches, players, and parents with resources. So we are unveiling the new 3-on-3 Hoops Nation newsletter.
The nation.
And the nation. So we're going to include a link for you guys to subscribe in the description, and it's just designed for, like I mentioned, like coaches, parents, and players to unlock the power on 303. We're going to include different things in there, blogs, video snippets of this podcast, access to drills, access to, sets that you can run in your 3-on-3 practices and games. And it's just going to be a place where coaches, if you want to come in there and give your particular I don't want to say advice, but if you want to come in there and say, hey, this is how I use 3-on-3, or hey, this is what we've been doing that's working, or if you want to come in there and ask questions, we can ask, we can contact you guys that way, or somebody in the community can always come in there and offer advice. So it's just a resource for us, to all build community and to connect with one each other's, provide each other with resources and things of that nature. So subscribe, 3-on-3 Hoops Nation. Let's build this thing up, and coaches, players, parents unite, and keep growing this 3-on-3 thing.
Yeah, so again, that's going to be, you can go to 3on3hoopsnation.com. That link will be in the description. We'll also have the link to the description directly to the newsletter. And guys, it's going to be something big where we just provide a lot of resources, like Coach has said, and plays, drills, articles, all the stuff that Coach draws up. We'll have some of our some of the stuff we talked about today in there about certain drills that you can include in your 3-on-3, or sorry, in your program. Some 3-on-3 drills that you can include in your program or practices, just to kind of break things up. Just to evaluate players. So I'll tell you exactly, we'll go more into detail about, how we run those drills and the target score that we provide and the point system and all that stuff. So again, that's 3on3hoopsnation.com. Link will be in the description, and really excited about this, Coach. Let's get some t-shirts made. 3-on-3 Hoops Nation.
Nation, nation, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We can,
yeah,
we can,
Nation.
we
I like
can,
that. Yeah.
yeah, we could possibly do that, man.
All right, so yeah, we're building a real community here, and if you're rocking with us on this pod, and you believe the power of 3-on-3, make sure you get plugged in to 3-on-3 Hoops Nation. This is a movement, and I'm really excited about this. So we're both really excited about this. So let's
Most
do it.
definitely.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 25, Coach. We've got 25 episodes up now, of the 3-on-3 Hoops pod.
Quarter.
Hopefully
That's a
today,
quarter. That's a quarter.
we gave you some practical ways and ideas that you to start working 3-on-3 into your practices, into your program, whether you're running a youth basketball program, coaching youth basketball, coaching middle school or high school basketball, or just training kids on the side. Don't forget to sign up for 3-on-3 Hoops Nation. The link will be in the description, or just head over to 3on3hoopsnation.com. Coach, give me your one word to focus on, for us to focus on for the week.
Consistency.
Consistency. I like that. All right. Any final thoughts? Stay consistent.
Please, OKC and Indiana, no finals. OKC versus New York Knicks will
So
be a way more digestible finals. That's that.
I couldn't disagree more, but whatever whatever the big market wants, right? All right. All right. So we appreciate you guys rocking with us on this podcast, and thank you for joining us. And we just want to build this community together, and showing you why 3-on-3 really is the secret sauce to player development. All right. So thanks again for joining us, and let's grow this thing together. Here we are.
Are we in action now? Hold on now. I gotta just put this man down.
Here we are. Here we are. There he goes.
Blooper reel. Why can't I get this shit on? Dang.
Game today?
Nah, we could. I'm for the first weekend in a while. I'll have nothing. Nothing. I have no basketball, anything. So
What?
yeah, I'm just gonna do a lot of. I
I
told you about the
wanna.
Mesa, the school district thing. We
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get that stuff done.
I wanna start
And
a podcast called "No Basketball Anything."
no basketball, or anything.
What
But
what
I got.
what, what about the school district? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, we just I just want to make sure we got all our uh I's dotted and T's crossed with that shit.
Got you. Got you.
But
Got you.
that's not gonna start until like October though. But um, another thing, I gotta recruit players, man. I need to recruit
Oh,
players
for
for the
the.
club team. Yeah, we're
Got you.
gonna have
Got you.
tryouts next week.
Nice. Nice.
A couple
Nice.
of days, which I call them tryouts, but really, whoever shows up
Whoever
is
shows
probably
up.
not gonna be on the team.
I've had those. I've had those before. I've had those before. It's no.
So,
Hey man, that thing's gonna blow up though, for real.
yeah, man, I think so too. I finally have, at least in my mind, um, like all the aspects that I intended to have in the
Mhm.
whole entire program when I first set out to build it. I think everything is there. Like all the systems are there. Now I just have to, I just have to implement everything.
Yeah, it's cool,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, dude. It's real. It's a lot. It's a lot of moving pieces. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to take a break.
I know that feeling too, man. Trust me. Like I
Ready to take a
love
breeze day.
I love the process, but you know, I don't know.
It's exhausting at the
You
same
gotta
time.
you gotta people a lot. So
Yeah, you got to people a lot, and I don't really feel like I'm. As much as it might seem like I'm a people person, and I am, but a lot of times I rather, if you can build a business alone, I would. If you can successfully scale a business by yourself, I would probably do that. But that's not the reality of it. You gotta have people, systems, all type of shit working for you.
yeah. I mean, maybe we're getting closer to it. You got uh use AI, Chat GPT.
Yeah. AI, yeah, AI. See, AI is cool. AI is a great tool, but even then, you still gotta input the prompts and all that. I want people to do that too. I don't even want to have to do that.
Oh yeah.
I just want to be. You know what I'm saying? I just,
You just want to sit there like with your
no, I
hands
want to.
behind
No,
your
I'm Vince. Look, I'm
feet on the
Vince
table.
McMahon. I'm Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying? I'll make sure that the ship keeps going forward. Right? Like we're not gonna crash.
Like
I'll just be the captain of the ship, but we
Vince
need people
McMahon,
in
not with the
place.
XFL though, right?
Nah, hell no. But that's what happens, man. That's what happens.
Do I sound weird to you at all?
Nope.
All right. Is my lighting okay? Because I can't tell. This this
Uh
is my
oh. Shit.
this is my new crib.
Oh, that's the spot, huh?
This is my spot. This is where it all starts over.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. I can. You know what I'm saying? I know. You know. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been a mix of emotions. On one hand, I'm excited to finally be able to start over and kind of start to move forward. And on the other hand, it's also sad. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't picture my life being right here
Yeah,
at
it's
47.
you,
You know what
huh?
I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I mean, it's mixed emotion.
yeah. But you gotta use it as a growth.
I've grown before. I was
Yeah.
divorced before already.
Oh, damn,
Why
yeah.
I gotta grow again?
All right, man. Well, hell. All right. Well, I'm gonna say this, man.
uh,
Stay by yourself for a minute.
oh, trust me, I'm stay by myself forever. I'm gonna get a dog. That's what I'm gonna do.
I ain't gonna say get a dog now, but
I
just.
tried that before too.
I tried that before too.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this thing started. You didn't do your little cue for me.
What?
Yeah, there you go.